Oh, what? What? I, LaynieGanja, have not posted or made a video for YouTube in years. So I am feeling very called to discuss something that's very near and dear to me, which is conscious consumption of cannabis. And I am really big into educating about conscious consumption, and not just even as it relates to cannabis, but literally anything consumable. You can bring conscious awareness to anything that you're consuming, whether it is electronics, whether it is food, whether it is the different products you buy at the store, um, household products, cannabis, alcohol, everything, anything that we're consuming, ads, anything, magazines, you can consciously consume and bring yourself empowerment by doing this. So I do apologize for the poor video quality. I went camping and dropped my phone perfectly on a pointy rock and shattered right on the front where the camera is. But I've never been trying to be fancy. I've never been trying to be even a YouTuber. I've never even done edits to my videos. I've always just spoke and sought to spread empowerment and spread information. So no frills here, as evidenced by I'm just recording on my little phone camera and wearing zero makeup. I just don't find that to be of the utmost importance to spread the message. So I really wanted to talk about conscious consumption of cannabis, mostly to bring this conscious awareness surrounding everything to do with cannabis, from the production to the ingredients added to make these products to how we consume it. And by doing this and by increasing and raising the consciousness around all of these factors, we can really reduce how many cases of people having uncomfortable or even painful experiences, or just negative experiences in general with cannabis. So it's like you have something like cannabis. It is a ancient herb that has been used by humans across various cultures over time, for mental, spiritual, physical purposes, and has definitely been a sacred herb that has been ceremonial and really enriching to quality of life. So you have this herb, it has all of these amazing health benefits, all of these amazing therapeutic applications. However, we're not really empowered in society to have healthy relationships with things. And this includes everything you can have a relationship with. We're not really empowered to have a healthy relationship with ourselves. We're not really empowered to have a healthy relationship with others. We're not really empowered to have relationship with altering substances. This is just something that has really been left out of society and how we even groom our children. There's just a huge lack here of having healthy relationships and knowing how to groom healthy relationships. So, inevitably, if people are not empowered to groom healthy relationships, you tend to misuse and abuse things, especially if they make you feel good. You tend to misuse and abuse that, use this as this, begin patterns where you're self-medicating, but you're doing so in a way that you're not really consciously working through the things you need to work through. Usually people are consuming those substances and using that substance as a friend, and as something that's just making them feel good in the moment, and almost using it as like a mask, or a way to distract. And these are not healthy ways that we use substances. These are unhealthy ways that we use substances. So I would love to empower people to begin a more conscious relationship with the different things you consume, and become aware and become an observer of your own mind, and a lot more attuned with yourself, mind, body, and soul. We have all these different aspects of our health, so many different layers of our health. And oftentimes, mainstream society and modern medicine, mainstream medicine, is always focusing on the physical realm. We tend to dramatically ignore and not address our mental state, our emotional well-being, our spiritual well-being, our energetic well-being. These are all things that have to be addressed, and you have to bring awareness to, and you have to become more attuned with if you do want to be well and optimally functioning. So cannabis, having all of these incredible properties, all of these things that can benefit our health, it really becomes of no use to our health and of no benefit when we begin to misuse and abuse it, or use it in an unconscious way to where we're not bringing mindfulness and consciousness to how the plant was treated during growth, how was the oil extracted, what was the treatment throughout this entire process, what was the soil like in which the cannabis was grown, and then thinking about the ingredients. Like, if you're going to consume all these different cannabis products, well, is it really that good for your health if you're only eating cannabis gummies? Or if you're only taking your CBD or THC in gummy form or in chocolate form, in candy form, or if you're always inhaling and consuming from something, for example, like a vape pen, where if you haven't done your due diligence to research and find out exactly what is inside there, there could be things cut in that oil that maybe aren't so beneficial to your health. And so bringing this awareness and consciousness and mindfulness to the ingredients in the products, and then how you consume it and how you incorporate it into your day, this can make or break whether or not the product's actually good for you and supporting your well-being, or actually potentially hindering your well-being. You have something as great as cannabis, you don't want to compromise it to a point where it's no longer good for your health. So we really want to be a lot more mindful and a lot more consciously aware of the sourcing of our cannabis, how it was treated, the ingredients that are used, and then how we are incorporating it into our lives. For so many people, consistent high THC use is actually not beneficial to their health. And unfortunately, we haven't been very empowered with understanding surrounding this plant. We've missed out on 80 years of research with this plant during Prohibition. And therefore, as a society, mainstream society is pretty misinformed about this plant and its compounds, and even the science behind it all. So we see a lot of misinformation in society, and you want to kind of clear the clutter of misinformation and begin to feel empowered with your own research and own understanding. So don't always just take it for somebody else's word. Do your own research and really strongly develop your own understanding so that you can be empowered in this subject. There's a lot of great people that do know what they're talking about, and then there's a lot of people that are just trying to sell you something, or they're just they have their own personal interest in mind. And we have to even become conscious consumers of that type of information as well, and learning who is kind of just invested in their own personal interests and trying to make a buck off of you, and who actually is in this for the welfare of this planet and the welfare of human beings and the welfare of animals and plants that reside on this planet. So becoming more attuned with yourself is how you have the clarity to navigate these waters of all this information that's always being thrown at you. This clarity and attunement can help you cut through the bullshit and navigate all this information and help yourself truly learn and understand. So high THC for a lot of people is not appropriate for everyday use, but because for so long we only understood the THC part of this plant, and we didn't understand that it also produced hundreds of other compounds that are very beneficial to your health and wellness, people started to associate THC with the plant, not understanding all the other aspects at play, and people's minds started to say, okay, then I'm looking for the product with the highest THC, and that's what I want. This also came about by people's tolerances being raised so high from using consistently so much and so long that they're really shooting their tolerances through the roof, and they're always seeking more and more and more. And this also isn't, that's not a very healthy, that's not a health promoting thing either, to get yourself so used to something that your tolerance is off the chart and you need more and more and more. So there's very specific examples of people with disease or illness that do need high amounts of cannabinoids every day. And there's nothing wrong with that. We are not here to judge how other people need cannabis for their health and wellness. That is not what we're here to do. That is not the purpose. It's not to say your consumption is good and your consumption is bad. No, we're not doing that at all. It's that you, and only you, can become so attuned with yourself to know what's appropriate for you. And your body and mind and spirit and your energy self will absolutely give you signs for when you've overdone something, or when your body needs you to let up a little bit of something in particular. It will give you signs. Again, it's up to you to be clear and attuned enough to see these signs and respond accordingly to the signs that your own body and mind and spirit and energy is giving you. So you have to become aware of where your particular levels are at, what your particular needs are at, and they might look completely different than somebody else's, and that is okay. If your particular circumstance and the position your body is in at the moment requires a high amount of cannabinoids every single day just to feel well, just to function, then that is where your body is at, and that is fine. That is for none of us to judge. However, if your body is not in a physical place to where it needs such high amounts of cannabinoids every single day, you could actually be doing yourself a major disservice by continuing to consume these compounds at such high volume every single day. And this is actually where we see negative side effects pop up. So you have this healing herb, you have this healing cannabis that has all these medical applications, but then you have people experiencing really negative side effects. That is a red flag that the way that they were using was not right for their body. And once you start to experience those negative side effects, you have got to pivot, and adjust accordingly. And there's so many different ways you can adjust. So I'll even speak about me as I'm not really I use cannabis medicinally 100%, but I don't have a debilitating disease or illness aside from migraines. I've definitely suffered migraines, and cannabis has been useful for that. However, sometimes cannabis doesn't help. So yeah, that's my own beast and my own thing to figure out, and my own healing that I have to go through to reduce these migraines. However, aside from that, I have no disease or illness in which I am needing to take this every single day. As in, like, just one compound every single day. Like, I don't have to take THC every single day. I don't have to take CBD every single day, especially at such high amounts. So say for me, just as like a regular cannabis user that uses it in a very therapeutic way, an example is I use it for sleep. I use it for deep relaxation and creativity and almost like an unwinding from the day. So even I, in my use of using it for sleep, using it for creativity, using it for my unwinding, my body will give me signs when I've overdone it on the THC side of things, or when I no longer need that high of THC. And I will I'll be able to read what my body is telling me. I'll be able to recognize what it's saying. And I will begin the very next evening, when it would be time for me to normally consume, instead of doing a high THC strain, I will do a very, very low THC strain, and maybe not even THC at all. Maybe I'll just take a CBD product, and I'll take a certain amount of milligrams or a certain amount of dosage and serving that does make me very relaxed, since I'm